Hello, and welcome to the Hockey on Tap podcast. This is episode 48. I'm your host, Bill Dean. I'm here, of course, with my three co-hosts, Little Steve, Schwim, and Shorts Guy. Little Steve is attending to an animal emergency, so hopefully everything's good, and he will be back and joining us soon. But we are brought to you by Primetime Radio, courtesy of Sam Wu, and you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Please leave us a 5-star review if you would be so kind. Boys, what are we drinking?
Who's going first? Me?
Yeah, sure.
You can go first.
All right. I believe the gracious host, Billy Dean, bought me this. It's from Hudson Valley. It is. I've had this before, but I thought I'd bust it out again because it's so good. It's a brunch-style sour IPA with strawberry.
Yeah, it's very
pretty
good.
tasty. I think I gave it a 4. Oh my God, your brother gave it a 5. AJ gave it a 5.
AJ loves that one.
That's pretty good.
This
I
one,
like it. Good choice, Dean.
we'll go to me after Shorts Guy, but this one I have here might be close to a 5. It's ridiculous. Shorts, what do you got?
I'm going by a tried and true 60-minute.
Nice.
You
can't go wrong.
No,
You
there's
can't. And
Cannot go wrong.
I felt like going back to something that I just love, and I think I'm going to get a keg of it coming up. So.
Ooh.
I also noticed that you're doubling up on Devils logos.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, I am.
Yeah. So I am going with, I don't know, something's wrong with Shorts Guy's feed video just went like wicked fast on me, but all right.
Yeah.
So I got a fantastic glycerin by Hudson Valley. It is double blackberry peach sour double IPA. This color is awesome, and the smell is absolutely ridiculous. It is a fantastic beer. Highly recommended. Go to Hudson Valley, take a look if they still have it, and go with that bad boy. We'll ask Steve what he's drinking when he gets back. We'll leave it a cliffhanger in the business.
There you go.
So, boys, let's get on to Well, boys, let's get to what's on tap for today's episode. That was a tongue twister. Here's our weekly snapshot. So the trade deadline next week, April 12th, it's Monday. And according to a lot of pundits, there's a good number of teams that are going to be dealers. People were worried that in the beginning that wouldn't be so much. But, a lot of teams, especially the upper echelon, right? You got Toronto, you got Colorado. They want to be buyers. They're going to go in all in because they have the two best teams and, arguably two of the best teams. Tampa being another one where they're looking for a fourth-line center, I heard. Maybe a defenseman. So, there's a lot of teams out there that are looking to wheel and deal. We'll actually just go right into the rumors and some other interesting tidbits that happened. So, obviously, trade deadline 3 p.m. Kyle Palmieri. So this leads perfectly into Devils and Shorty. Kyle Palmieri was held out of the Devils' 5-4 loss to the Caps on Sunday as a precaution. His agent tweeted that it was in anticipation of a deal this week. The teams in the mix are considered to be the Blues, Islanders, Bruins, Leafs, and the Oilers. Another name for the Devils is Zajac, and they think that maybe he's going to go to Lou in the Isle. So we'll see if that happens.
Somebody's gone to the Isle.
Yes, exactly. And I think Palmieri is the perfect person to go to a team like the Blues or even, it's crazy, the Oilers. I think teams at first were hesitant, right? That, with that whole 14-day quarantine, they didn't want to do it. But once they lifted that and they went to 7, that's why the Eric Stahl trade happened for Montreal. It went so quickly. But I can see a guy like Palmieri going to the Oilers or the Leafs, teams that could use that secondary scoring a little more. And pull off a big trade. And for the Devils, I mean, you guys are holding some pretty good, good pieces between Zajac, Palmieri. Obviously, Ryan Murray is another name that's been out there. You know what I was just thinking too? It would have been perfect for the Devils if Corey Crawford did not retire, because he would have been the hottest goalie name on the market. Because right now you're looking at guys like Linus Ullmark and some other guys. He would have been absolutely perfect for a stretch run.
Yeah, I mean, but you're assuming that if he was able to play well and was putting up good numbers too, so he would have had to have been doing well at this point. Which right now it doesn't matter who's in net for the Devils; they're gonna they're not getting a lot of support.
But even on that, just quickly, even the Corey Crawford thing, like I said, the biggest name right now is maybe Linus Ullmark or Devin Dubnyk or some of these other guys. Corey Crawford at least won a cup, and he knows what it takes for that stretch run. He would have been a really interesting name.
Yeah, agreed. But after everything came out about how he was so reluctant to leave Chicago, and let's say he did get used to New Jersey, it's possible that there was no way in hell that he was going to want to move again.
True. Yeah.
With everything. So and along with Zajac and Palmieri, they both have no trade clauses. So it's not like we're just looking for a good suitor that's going to suit New Jersey. We have to also, make sure that
accommodate them.
we have to accommodate them. Yes. So I'm assuming that either any move is being put by them and their their representation, their agents, or the organization came to them and say, okay, give us a list. Give us a list of like 4 or 5, that we can start to work with, and we'll see what we can do. So we've pretty much come to a consensus on the Let's Go Devils podcast that it's going to be Boston or Long Island.
You don't think they would go to the Blues, Leafs, or Oilers, huh?
Well, we were talking about the potential of the Blues last night. It's possible with the Leafs, but also it wouldn't also shock me if Zajac remained a Devil on the day after the deadline.
It wouldn't.
Or
Absolutely.
after the deadline. I mean, for Palmieri,
he's gone.
I hate to say he's good as gone.
He's been held out of games. He's got to be.
Yeah. And, it is what it is. I still would love to see him come back on a 1-year deal, see if he can earn a longer-term contract and come back. But, let's not forget that Vatanen is also a potential trade trade bait as well, because he's a very serviceable defenseman. He's a UFA. He's only on a 1-year deal. And then we can do what we did last year.
And you re-sign him again.
Trade him and re-sign him again.
That would be.
They should trade him to Carolina again.
Yes,
and then have
Carolina. Carolina is looking for another defenseman, so that would be absolutely hysterical.
They can pull the wool over Carolina's eyes twice.
What did they give? What did they give for Vatanen? What did you get from him? From them? It was a third-round pick, or
something like that, and we got
it was a decent prospect too. Yeah, just do it again. Just do it again.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Just do it again. And that was also contingent on games played too. So he was hurt like immediately upon the trade. So hey, it is what it is, and we'll see.
Yeah. So obviously the Devils up there. We talked about Ullmark and Dubnyk. Toronto needs a goalie with Anderson still out. And now with the Bruins news, you have Jarl Halak going on COVID protocol. Tuukka Rask, who knows what's happening with him? They're going to need a goalie if they're going to make a run here. So they're going to have to. I mean, you have two of those big teams right there. Out west, Colorado could also probably use a goaltender for just in case Grubauer, something happens to him, they're screwed, right? Francouz, you have pretty much barren,
we can
goaltending.
The Devils can trade Stanley Cup champion Scott Wedgwood if need be.
I mean, you wish you had a Stanley Cup champion.
We have Dell, although I think Wedgwood would get us more in return. As much as I would hate to see Wedgwood go, he's played well. I think he's definitely, if there's a team that's looking for a serviceable backup goaltender, I think he's proven that he can do it if needed in short stretches. Are you going to rely on him to win you the cup and go all through, from first round to the final? He's not going to do that. No, he's not going to do that. However, if you need someone that's going to be a stopgap, or you need someone to throw in a game, he's definitely a serviceable backup.
Yeah.
And if he gets traded, say, out to Colorado, you played all those teams for years being on San Jose. I think.
I got to think.
What if he goes to Colorado? What if he goes
Wedgwood?
Well, I'm talking about Dell.
I'm talking about Dell because he used to play. In the West. Something, and maybe they look at him more.
Yeah,
that could be a selling point for Colorado. Be like, here you go. Here's the teams. They're
I would love to see his setup on Colorado, or if he'd have such like a great setup with whatever team he goes to.
I would hope so. And you know what though, if he gets traded and those Devils pads come up, I'm buying him. We'll start a GoFundMe. help Shorts guy buy Dell's pads,
yeah,
and then I'll let everyone take
those would
pictures
be
of me wearing the pads.
fantastic.
Could you imagine me coming onto the rink for a game wearing those pads?
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to shoot on them. I would just stand there and like, look at you.
Oh no, I'd rock it. I'd try to rip them.
You'd have to hit the net. And
yeah, exactly.
That's
a big problem.
And you'd also have to make sure the puck stayed on your stick too, Billy.
Exactly.
If only Dean's shooting, your pads will be in perfect shape. You don't have to worry about it.
2 months.
The game was on your stick. Anyway.
Yeah, it was bad. That was bad. Yeah, no. Oh well. The two hottest teams in the trade market. So these are the two teams that I think will make the biggest splashes this trade deadline. I think it's the Hurricanes, and I think it's the Winnipeg Jets. I think the Jets go out and get a D-man, and I think maybe even a forward. And then the Canes, I mean, they've conference championship 2 years ago, or conference finals 2 years ago. They're definitely a team that can make waves. I mean, Martin Necas has been fantastic for them. Obviously, their top line's ridiculous. They're a couple pieces from being legit. I mean, still, I think the goalie situation, although Nedeljkovic, rookie goaltender, if I said that right, he's played awesome. Yeah, he's rookie of the month.
And isn't Mrazek back? I think Mrazek.
Yeah, Mrazek. He actually got a shutout his first game back. No, he
came back.
Played. Yeah. So now
the
Reimer
made a big deal about it.
Yeah, Reimerson is sitting on the pine.
Wow.
So a couple good names there. Other names that have been on the wire, obviously Sam Bennett with Calgary. Who knows what's going to happen with them because, a new coach, they're trying to still make the playoffs. They say maybe Dustin Brown stays put in L.A. Eichel's not going to happen, with Buffalo, but there are a bunch of names there. Brandon Montour, maybe Casey Middlestad, a couple other guys. Who knows what happens with Columbus, Nick Foligno. I don't think Getzlaf's going anywhere at the Ducks. I just think that he wants to stay in Southern California, and I think he'll sign a bunch of 1-year contracts to kind of stay. What happens with Nashville? You got Mikael Granlund. You have who's the other forward they signed to a 1-year deal? I'm blanking on his name now. Haula. You got those two guys. Maybe they trade them, but they're also in the race. So
yeah, they're playing really well now. So I don't know if they're gonna.
I think they're fourth.
Yeah. So I think they want to keep that team together and maybe even add a piece. Maybe they'll be buyers now.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna with them being so close, they have to be buyers instead of sellers.
Yeah. And Saros is playing awesome now.
Do they have to be buyers? You think they just stand pat and kind of just eat Poyle's very strange in that if he doesn't think his team's going to make it, he'll sell off or he'll stand pat. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Obviously Taylor Hall, he's a big name that's probably going to be dealt. Although they say they want a first.
Buffalo doesn't trade him.
I mean, they say they want a first.
Trade partner for him.
I would hope so. I mean,
I don't know.
Ship him anywhere.
So all right, so I brought this up last night, and we started talking about Taylor Hall last night on the Let's Go Devils podcast, and all of a sudden, everyone on the stream was like, "What do you guys want him back?" And like everyone started flipping out that we wanted him back. We're like, no. We're talking about him as in like he's had almost no impact everywhere he's gone. So eventually, I know someone is going to be willing to overpay for him at some point because there's always a buyer for everyone. Yeah. But at some point, teams may just start looking at him and be like, yeah, he's just not worth it. And his value is going down. He had one good season for us. We didn't do anything as a team. He went to Arizona when we traded him, didn't do anything there. He went to Buffalo. Buffalo went down just the hole of despair. He didn't do he didn't bring Edmonton to the promised land. So at some point, people are just going to kind of look at him and be like, nah, thanks. No thanks. We're just going to move on.
The last two teams he's been on, though, like Arizona and Buffalo.
Yeah.
They're not good teams. Let's just be honest. Especially Buffalo this year is not a good team. Arizona shows signs sometimes of being decent, but then they go right back to their old ways.
Last year.
I don't know. If he can maybe go to a contender and on a good team and maybe something can happen, but I don't know. I
can see the Bruins.
I think I could see that, but I think they're going to have a hard time trading him because I don't think anybody's going to want what Buffalo's asking for, one. And two, maybe they don't have that much confidence in Hall anymore. So he's just going to sign with whoever, I think, in the offseason.
And
Buffalo's going to lose out again.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm getting to is that, teams around the league, maybe losing confidence in Taylor Hall, who was, came in so touted, but then all of a sudden it's like, it's a what have you done for me lately league, and it's like he's done nothing, and it's like if he were to be tucking in goals here and there with the Buffalo Sabres this year, maybe you can see him, moving on from there and doing something, but he's not even producing anything. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard to produce when you have nothing around you. But still, it's like if he's supposed to be so good, he should be able to kind of at least do something there on a crap team, and he's doing nothing but going backwards almost.
Yeah, he's been
even leading the team in scoring.
No, I think it's what's his name? The Sam Reinert.
Reinert's leading the team in scoring.
Yeah. I mean, and you think
the
about
team
it.
Has the team has 8 wins. Like
I know.
You're on a horrible team. They don't even have double-digit wins.
No.
It's
bad.
So
real bad.
So what are the chances that now that Buffalo has remembered how to win occasionally, what are the chances of they win enough games to screw themselves out of getting the best chance for the
I can see that happening. I think either way, they're not getting first overall. Even if they finish last in the league, they're not going to win the lottery. Somebody else is going to win the lottery.
No.
Buffalo cannot win. They're not getting it. I'm telling you right now.
I guess this is the one time where you don't really care if you got number one because there's no real clear cut. Next year, there's supposed to be 3 guys where you want to be in that top 3. Maybe they just take that luck and scoot it down a year. You get it later. Definitely, a lot of names on the market. You still have guys, like you said, Ricard Raquel, Anaheim. You still have Vince Dunn. What does St. Louis do with a defenseman? Matthias Ekholm, Nashville Predators. I still think he goes to the Jets. Kulikov with the Devils is another name. Who knows if he's traded?
Move.
Ristolainen in Buffalo, I think they hold on to him, but David Savard in Columbus, I think he's all but gone. And I think Schwim's Tampa Bay Lightning might be that team.
Yeah, they were talking about him because they've 2 other guys are Chernak's hurt, McDonough was hurt, but he just came back, and now another defenseman, Jan Ruda, is hurt. So they might be looking for depth at that position because their guys behind all of them are one is Luke Shen, who is not good. All he can do is hit people if he can, be there on time. Otherwise, they're going right around him because he's one of the slowest skaters I've ever seen. And then they have 2 other. They have Cal Foote, who's playing well, but he's a rookie and still learning the NHL. And then they have Andreas Borgman, who they called up, who played. I don't think until they recalled him, and he's played a couple games this year. I don't think he's played in over a year, an NHL game or something like that in over a year. So it's just like he's not reliable. So they might want to get somebody like him. It's possible. I don't know. See.
That's pretty much the names I had on there. Now to get to a little unhappy news. Vancouver Canucks, their COVID shutdown. Apparently they have the Brazilian strain, and they have 17 players and 3 staff members out on COVID-19 protocol. For anybody that doesn't know, from what I read on the Brazilian strain, it's basically 2.5 times more. It just flows through you. It's more contagious. It's just worse in general. They had 7 players were added Saturday after 5 on Friday, 1 on Thursday, and then the first guy on Tuesday. 4 games have been postponed through April 6th. They could possibly not finish the season, and a chance they might not play until after the trade deadline was some of the news that I saw and rumors. Big names include Horvat, Quinn Hughes, both goalies. One player got COVID in March to begin the season, and he just got it again. So they didn't say who the player was, but it's considered the worst outbreak, worst symptoms in the Sabres what they had, and multiple players needed IVs. Also, other COVID news: Stars head coach Rick Bowness was on the bench against the Canes, but was pulled in the 3rd period due to COVID-19 protocols. And then we talked about Halak. The NHL did send out a memo telling teams to button it up, basically, saying that the teams are getting lax and players, especially aren't abiding to their NHL rules. And they say there could be another playoff bubble, so it affects, long term.
I was just going to ask that if they've talked about that playoff bubble, but
they already said
it almost. And it's not like Canada is like this wide open. It's not like Canada's like Texas that's wide open.
Yeah.
Canada is pretty buttoned
Florida,
up.
yeah.
Like you can't even, from what I've seen on the groups I'm involved in, the goalie groups on Facebook, like rinks aren't open. Like they can't play like we're able to play down here. So like everything is closed down, and these guys are still getting it. So I don't know, but at this point, it seems like a playoff bubble is maybe the best bet, at least maybe for the first round or two.
Players are not going to deal with that one.
They're not going to like
it. They're not going to be happy.
Well, that's what maybe you do for the first round or two, but and then have they solidified bringing down the Northern Division down to the states? They're doing that, correct?
Yeah, well, they're not doing it. That's one of the talks. I guess as they get closer to the the end of the season, they'll see what's going on. But maybe not even the first round. Maybe you do it for the conference finals and the championship, because you don't want to delay that, right? So maybe you do it later on, so this way you don't have to worry about teams possibly all of a sudden, one team's done for the cup final because they have 17 players out and they're out 2 weeks. I mean, it's tough.
It's going to be tough. It's a tough situation. Do you start in a bubble and loosen up, or do you bubble up at the very end? It's like half of one. It's not going to be an easy call, and it's not going to be a popular call, whatever they do, because as of right now, it's just something's not working in Canada. And we had joked, I think, earlier in the season, like, hey, we're a mess in the States, but Canada's been, no delay. Now all of a sudden, getting towards the end of the season. So then now might this potentially prevent trades going forward up to the deadline here, with Canada being, with all this crap going on in Canada? Could that be prohibitive for trades?
With Vancouver, also, Vancouver's like nobody's going to want to deal with them. If they're
no one's going to want to go to Vancouver.
Team and staff is testing positive. And another thing, testing. Rick Bowness gets pulled in the third period. So does that mean he's being tested that morning and not getting results until
I don't know
hours and hours later?
That's real bad. If that's the case.
I thought they had rapid testing. You could know right there.
It should be. I got a rapid test 2 weeks ago, and I had a phone call within an hour. It's got to be, or you know what it could be? It could be that something happened that in between, from when the game started, when he got there, and then at some point in the bench, all of a sudden it was noted. They were made a notification came that hey, he was around COVID positive. Yank him now. To me, that's probably what it was, because
I hope
other than that. I hope so, because if there's that long of a delay, or if it's inconclusive, you would think that if they got an inconclusive result, they would say, yeah, no, you're not going on. But I don't know. We're not in that. We're not in the working there.
No, it's unfortunate. Hopefully everything gets settled up. There's a lot of teams that have put a lot of hard work in there, and who knows how it got started, but if players are going out and doing things maybe they shouldn't be doing, you're putting your teammates at risk, and you could fracture a locker room like that. I don't think Vancouver was going to make it very far anyway, but who knows what happened there. Now some pretty, not funny, because these two incidents were not exactly pleasant, but McDavid and McKinnon both fined $5,000 for two separate incidents last week. McDavid with the elbow on, I can't remember who the player was. Who did McDavid elbow in that game?
I didn't see that. I only saw the McKinnon one. I didn't see the McDavid.
So I didn't see the McDavid one.
Pretty bad elbow.
It was really bad, wasn't it? And he didn't get any suspension?
No, people are calling for suspensions, 1 to 2 games. Obviously, he did not get suspended because he's the face of the league, and honestly, I mean, do you really fault them for not wanting to get him out of a game? So
I understand it, but I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I think if he deserves suspension, he should have it. Tough.
Yeah.
Everybody should be treated equally, no matter if you're the richest person or the poorest person. If you're the best player or the worst player. But
you know why the NHL does it.
I understand it. I understand, but it doesn't mean I have to agree with it.
And then the other thing that was funnier was the McKinnon helmet throw where he hits Garland right in the face with it. I mean, obviously, it's his assault is what it is.
Hysterical.
Yeah, Garland couldn't believe it. And, McKinnon wins the Selke. He's won a Selke, and I got me thinking, is there any other crazy incidents where you can think of with a so-called clean player where a clean player just went off and all of a sudden just was furious? Like how that, I mean, you think of all the guys that have won Selkies, they're mild-mannered, they're usually nice team guys. I mean, to have an incident like that, you have to really piss someone off to get a helmet thrown in your face. But
I remember I sent you that GIF of he's holding the Selkie and he throws it.
Yeah, pretty good.
Just replace the helmet with the Selkie trophy.
Yeah, but both those guys got fines, which is chump change. I mean, well, more chump change for McDavid than McKinnon. But
were they fined the same amount?
Yeah, $5,000 each, which is the max you can do under the CBA. Well, so if you're not going to suspend a player,
McDavid should have been the max because it was a bad elbow, right? This one is just throwing a helmet at a guy who kind of overreacted to it, but I guess didn't really expect it.
It's technically assault. I mean, he hit him with something that he shouldn't. It's not even a fist.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. If you're not going
to suspend a player, you should absolutely head out a bigger fine than $5,000. Like, what is that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
McDavid has a disaster.
So
it's like pennies for us.
There was a Vegas Golden Knight player that got suspended for an elbow recently within the last week, correct?
Yes. I'm trying to remember what that was, but yeah, there was.
Yeah, I was watching a game. I just can't remember who it was, and then he was suspended for a couple games. Was that elbow? Was the McDavid elbow worse than that?
It was on Kotkaniemi, now I remember, and it was bad. It was targeting. Kotkaniemi had already dropped the puck back.
He leave his skates and everything, and
I don't remember him leaving his skates.
Went up pretty bad.
Yeah, he absolutely targeted head with elbow, and it was intent to injure him because he had long had the puck off his stick, and he was just going after him to go after him. So, I think anybody else, that's Tom Wilson, that's half a season there. So
it shouldn't that shouldn't be. That shouldn't be. Like
it shouldn't be, but that's
I understand why the league's doing it, but it shouldn't be. It like Schwim said, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't make a difference.
And that's why player safety, the Department of Player Safety is a joke because nothing is set in stone, which is what they should have, right? You should have, if it's malicious intent, it's 2 games. If it's repeat offender, you get 4, and then just keep doubling it up. These guys
adds on to it. If you're a repeat offender, there should be a number that gets added on automatically if you're a repeat offender, depending on how many times you do it. But there should be a set amount, no matter what player does what. If it's intent, if there's what do they say? Contact to the central point of contact is whatever.
Yeah.
No matter who it is, it should be. This is the number you get suspended.
Yeah.
Yep.
And fine, possibly. I don't know. Do they do both? Do they fine them when they suspend them?
Yeah. Well, I think you get. I think you just. Well, the fine is just that you get your game salary taken away, right? I mean, these guys lose game salaries. So
however many games you're out for that salary.
I think. I think it was Taylor Hall is $70,000 a game because that's what we're saying. That's why Sabres would want to trade him because then they save money that way too. But. Speaking of the Sabres, they get their first 2 wins in a long while last week. 18-game losing streak was stopped with a win over the Flyers, 6-1. The Sabres save percent. Now listen to this, and I wish Steve was on here as a goalie too, but Shorts guy's gonna laugh at this. Guess what the Sabres save percentage in March was?
Atrocious.
Definitely under 900.
The whole month of March.
Atrocious.
831.
Jesus.
Now, what was that compared to the Flyers? What was that compared? No.
I don't know.
Flyers.
No. That's not Bone Storm. I will. No.
I thought you'd like that one.
The Shorts guy's seeing 90 shots a game, so I think his save percentage is probably way higher.
Pretty good. Yeah, probably pretty good.
What were the Flyers?
I didn't have that, but I just saw that 831.
I guarantee they were right there with them.
Yeah, they got to be bad. I mean, between Hart and then him leaving.
Oh, yeah.
It's bad. But, Flyers got their first Sabres got their first win against Flyers, and they beat my stinking Rangers 3-2. Matt Junio, how are you? In overtime in a shootout. Other news, Stan Bowman named the USA GM. I guess a lot of the USA community is pretty happy about this, obviously. So his dad, right, Scotty, is he Canadian? So I guess Stan was born in the U.S., and that's why he wants to take the U.S. gig? right? Isn't because I think
sense.
Scotty Bowman was coach of Canada, right? So he had to be Canadian.
I'm pretty sure he was Canadian.
So I mean, Stan, I guess
I'm on it.
Stan had to been born in the U.S. because now he's going to be
we need a stats guy. We have a shorts guy. We need a stats
guy. I should just get Kevin and just park him right here, so this way I could just have him answer
Kevin, look this up.
Yeah.
No, sorry, wrong person.
It's okay. You keep looking at it. So some odd NHL rules, and I saw this. There was Down Goes Brown on The Athletic went through some couple things, but did you know you can get on a too many men penalty, you can actually lead that to a penalty shot instead. So what you have to have is it has to be at the end of the regulation or overtime where, there's not enough time to have a full 2-minute power play, so you can actually call for a penalty shot instead. Or too many men intentionally. So say at the end of a game you're down 5-3, you have a power play or you're down 5-3 in a power play. You just keep sending out guys because who cares? You're not going to get another penalty, and you're already down 5-3. So it's not like they can penalize you anymore. So that was an interesting thing I saw. I didn't realize that you could do that. Anything on Sam Bowman?
All right. Yeah. So they're both born in Quebec.
Yeah,
interesting.
That's weird.
Maybe
he's probably got dual citizenship.
He probably does have dual citizenship. Stan was born in Montreal, and Scotty was born in talk about a historical name, Verdun, Quebec. That's not named after that's not named after a French city.
French city.
So yeah, they were both. Verdun was big in World War One. They were both born in the province of Quebec. So
all right,
he's got to have dual citizenship.
If you can't beat him, take him.
There you
go. Today's game, Leafs-Panthers. Leafs with, both teams are going into today. Leafs with a 7-game point streak. Panthers 6 in a row. So those two teams are both looking to continue those streaks and those points. Acumen. We said Eric Stahl making that trade to the Oilers. He makes his debut tonight. Stahl to the Habs. He makes his debut tonight against the Oilers. He's skating on the line with Drouin and Toffoli. So we'll see how he does. He's, I think, third-line center. We talked about Adam Fox last week. Got to talk to him this week just a little bit because it's the end of the month. So Fox was the first Ranger D-man with 20 points in a month since Brian Leach and Brad Park. So 2 Hall of Famers. So that's really good for Rangers fans. And even 31 thoughts, Elliot Friedman and Jeff Merrick both raved about him this week. So finally he's getting national attention, which is what I want. They said Norris Trophy as well. So I'm pretty excited. I'm not wearing my Foxy shirt, but I am wearing a New World Order Rangers shirt with Lafreniere, Capocaco, and Miller on the back. So pretty cool shirt made by another podcast. Yeah. So let's talk about some contracts that were signed this week. Thatcher Demko got a 5-year, $5 million extension with obviously the Vancouver Canucks. He is now out with COVID, but very good contract for them. I think what's his name? Holtby only has 2 years left on his contract, so this is obviously their goalie of the future, and maybe they even trade Holtby. But Shorts guy, you watch him. What
Demko? Yeah. No, Demko, I love watching Demko. There was a video that Vancouver posted about him doing training. And just watching him, first of all, Demko's huge. He's like 6'4", 6'5". So he's enormous, one. But his small movements in the crease are phenomenal. And I love watching the small training stuff and just seeing, what these guys are doing, these little motions that they're making, because these little motions that they work on in practice make a big deal in a game. And then it's just been my thing for as long as I've played the game that I'll watch what these guys do. Yeah, see, he's huge.
He's almost 200 pounds.
So I'm much shorter than him and a little bit heavier than him. That's a little scary.
And he's American.
But
let's not forget that.
Yes.
There we go. He is American. So we have
probably
two really solid.
Yeah.
Between him and Hellebuck. Between him and Hellebuck,
he's going to be the backup.
We have a pretty nasty duo. And then if
and John Gibson.
Gibson's still good.
But then Knight. And then Knight.
Spencer Knight eventually. Yeah.
Spencer Knight coming in. So we goaltending wise, the U.S. is got a great bunch because it's we're moving on from Quick. We're not going to have him anymore. And
Quick, Miller.
I do love watch.
Or Quick.
Yeah, Quick and Miller. They're
Jimmy
kind
Howard.
of the names of the past. Jimmy Howard. Well, yeah. Well, if I would get a Team USA Hellebuck or Demko jersey.
Absolutely.
Definitely
in a heartbeat. I would get. But going back to Demko, I just love watching him work in practice. It's like I love seeing that, and I try to do what I can, replicating what they see. What I see them doing. But he puts in the work. I think one of the videos he went down in a full butterfly and had post to post. He had his skates post to post in a full butterfly. It's like, wow, and like no effort. Just that's how big he is.
Yeah,
and he's athletic as hell.
Yeah, he is. He's ridiculous.
He's just a good goaltender.
So yeah, U.S. goaltending, and you compare that to Canada, and they are in trouble. And we can get into this more, obviously, towards that 2022 Olympics. But if you look at Canada's goalies, you would have thought maybe at the beginning of this year, it's between Price, maybe Carter Hart, and I think we said it was Price, Hart, and who was the other guy we were talking about? There was another guy that's not now out, but now it's probably Marc-Andre Fleury. He's probably in that, right? And maybe Mackenzie Blackwood is in there too.
Blackwood is a possibility.
Darcy Kemper.
It's Kemper. But it's like.
But Carter Hart, bad.
We were all thinking he's going to be hands down number one, and now
I thought he'd be the starter.
Not even now. Yeah.
I'm curious of what he'll look like in a regular full season. I was really there were talks at during last season that it was going to be, Blackwood versus Hart is going to be like one of the next goaltending matchups in the in our division. It was just going to be a solid, like almost like Brodeur Hextall esque and.
Shesterkin, come on.
He's got
little Rangers Devils.
He's got ugly pads.
That's a good way to judge.
Those Bryans are horrendous.
They're not
horrendous.
Great.
Then they could have done so much more. They could have done so much more. Something
That's why I always
more
liked
recognizable.
Hank always had pretty good pads. He always liked to come out
I'll
in
give
style.
him that.
Yeah.
His Caps pads were looking pretty hot too.
Yes. They were looking really good.
He was going to look good. Capitals legend Henrik Lundqvist is going to look good.
Yeah. Hopefully, Ovechkin comes to the Rangers.
Hasn't played a game yet. And he's
Rangers legend Alex Ovechkin. Some other quick signings.
Not coming to the Rangers.
Yeah, I can wish. I can hope. Senators signed center Shane Pinto to a 3-year ELC. He played for the University of North Dakota, and he's a Hobey Baker finalist. Panthers signed top goalie prospect Spencer Knight, who we just talked about, to a 3-year ELC.
Mm-hmm.
He went 16-4-1 with a 2.18 goals against and a .932 save percentage for the BC Eagles this past season. Avs signed Alex Newhook. He's their top forward prospect, had 7 goals, 9 assists, 16 points total in 12 games for BC. He had 42 points and was a plus 28 in 34 games last year as a freshman. He was one of the top freshmen to ever play the game. He's Alex Newhook's going to be really good, and it figures that the Avs get another awesome forward. He'll go to the AHL, and they're saying he could be there for the playoff run. So you watch Avs just get another guy to jump in there. Cam York signed a ELC with the Flyers. They believe he could compete on an NHL roster right now. He had 20 points in 24 games for BU. Finally, the Wild signed U.S. star forward Matt Boldy to a 3-year ELC. He had 31 points in 22 games for BC as well. A couple milestones. Keith Yandel, 900 straight games. Phil Kessel's at 870. I didn't realize Phil Kessel was that high.
Damn. Yeah. I knew he was up there, but I didn't know he was right up there with what's his face?
Yeah.
From Yandel.
Yandel's number 3 all time.
Wow, that's nuts.
I do love Phil Kessel because he looks like the guy that would just slam a 6-pack before a game.
Yes, he does.
Oh yeah,
a 6-pack and a hot dog, and he'd be so cool to hang out with.
Oh, absolutely. He would.
Yeah. He just looks like hell all the time, but yeah,
he does. He does. He's so disheveled every time you see him.
I don't know.
Oh man, it's great.
And he always has a horrible haircut because he's got a really. receding hairline. Like, just get rid of that. I don't know. Shave your head. Do something.
There's a coach in the EPL, Sam Allardyce, and every time that you saw him on the touchline for a game, he looked like he crawled out of the gutter from a bender, like right before the game started. Like he never had his top button buttoned. His tie was always loose. He just always looked like he was disheveled. And kind of Phil Kessel kind of has that same. He's kind of like cut from the same mold. Like he looks like he probably, slept outside, like slumped over a table at the golf course because he just got stuck at the 19th hole too late.
So you say that, and it reminds me of I was listening to Spit and Chicklets, and they were talking about how Steve Ott. There was a couple games where he wasn't dressing and he was sitting out, so he went for drinks during lunch before a game which he wasn't supposed to play in, and all of a sudden he got a call, and he was about 6 to 8 beers down, and he had to come back and play. And so I think Whitney was saying it's probably the best game of his life, but
we've all been there.
Yes,
we've
exactly.
all been there.
All right, so some of this week stats. March 29th, 2018, so actually 3 years ago, not too long ago, the first E-Bug, Scott Foster in 2018, finished the final 14 minutes for the Hawks in a win. Obviously he didn't get the accolades that David Ayers got, but, that's because the media maybe wasn't as big as it would have been during that time. So his first E-Bug, obviously there's been guys before that, but he was the first really recorded off the streets guys. A lot of the times it would be players would come in or coaches or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Also,
his
obviously
his post-game interview was fantastic.
Yeah, it was. So April Fool's just happened. So I went through the NHL archives and got a couple of NHL April Fool's pranks, and some of these are pretty hysterical. So obviously the first one is the Lightning, the fake alternate jersey. Schwim probably knows this one. Some players, they actually had a video of it, and some players thought it was real, I have it on the thing, and I'll tweet a photo of it, but it's the Lightning jersey, and then at the bottom in the blue and white stripes is palm trees. They just put a whole bunch of palm trees throughout the stripes on the arms and on the belly, the stripes. So it's just palm trees, and you could see these players looking at it and be like, are you serious? Like, we're going to wear this, trash out on the rink? Some players played along with it. Some people, thought it was real, but pretty good. Another one was Oliver Ekman-Larsson for Arizona Coyotes. The team sent out a convincing tweet saying that he would be the newest Bachelor contestant, and that the Swede. So official, Oliver Ekman-Larsson will begin filming The Bachelor season 24 this July in his hometown of Tingsgård, Sweden. Tune in on ABC as 30 women scratch and claw their way to the defenseman's heart. So, and they actually got a photo of him in this nice suit, and it says The Bachelor and this whole thing. So actually a lot of fans thought it was real and even tried to call up and ask if they could be contestants. Lastly, and this one was absolutely hysterical. So back when Larry Robinson was playing for Montreal, he was talking to a reporter, and he asked what he was going to do for April Fool's as a prank. And apparently, the guy said nothing. So Larry goes, all right, let's fool everybody and say that I got traded. So he fakes a trade. He says that he was traded to LA Kings for Marcel Dion, which obviously French-Canadian, that would have been fantastic back in the time. Larry Robinson gets on camera. It's like 6 a.m. in the morning. He gets on camera, and it's 9 a.m. in the morning. He gets on camera. He's crying. He's actually crying that he got traded, and he's so upset that he's not a Canadian anymore. He goes on as a joke. It's a whole big thing happens. Marcel Dion at 6 a.m. in LA is called because he thought, everyone's like, dude, you just got traded to the Canadians. You're going to go win a championship. And Marcel Dion apparently, had to call his agent, see what was going on here. He thought he got traded. And yeah, so Larry Robinson fooled everybody with a nice April Fool's prank.
You left out the Devils rebrand?
Oh, I didn't see that one. What was you get to remind me of that one?
A couple years ago, the Devils came out on April Fool's Day and said that they've rebranded the team from the New Jersey Devils to the New Jersey Angels. They had a whole new logo.
That's terrible.
They had a whole new logo. They had all new jerseys designed, and that was like the big thing. It was like that was their April Fool's joke was they've rebranded from the Devils to the Angels.
And did you obviously know right away those BS?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
were they that bad? I got to look back.
Way.
I'll look back to that.
No, it wasn't that bad. And actually, people wanted it, and with my screen printing abilities, we were going to try to offer that to the masses. But we were asked to not do that.
That'd be pretty cool. You do cool shirts with that, but
people wanted that logo on like a hat and a shirt, and
yeah, why not get a T-shirt? That'd be cool.
I don't know. Sammy might be able to remember that. That must have been at least 8 years ago now. Yeah, about 10 years ago when they rebranded as the Angels. Could have been sooner. I'm very terrible with time and my memory. So
why can't they do that in like a pregame warm up or something? I'll just wear like
come out as the Angels. That'd be pretty funny.
Come out the Angels.
I don't know.
Kind of cool. They should have done that on like April 1st if they had a game on the 1st.
Yeah. I definitely like it.
And I guarantee they would have been able to auction those off for like a ton
big
of
time
money for something.
Mm-hmm. Some 3 stars of the week. So 3 guys, all 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points total. Nathan McKinnon, I give the first star. Couple good wins for the Avs. Matt Barzal, who had one of the most unreal goals a couple weeks ago. He has been fantastic this week. And then Artemi Panarin, since he's been back, he's been on fire. So Rangers obviously enjoying their $10 million a year star. We went through the rumors, 2 hottest teams. So let's do all right. Let's do some trivia and some fun things, and then we'll bid adieu. How's Steve doing, by the way?
Okay, I think.
Okay.
The cat is sniffing the cage over there.
So that's interesting. There we go. All right. So this is going to be power play goals and shorthanded goals. So Alex Ovechkin just recently this week tied Brett Hull for second all-time with 265 power play goals in a career. Who's number 1? He knows already. Go ahead.
Dave Andreychuk.
274 goals. Buffalo, Toronto, New Jersey, Colorado, Boston, Tampa. 600 games. The power play goal champ. Do you know who is fourth, and because I said third is obviously tied Ovechkin and Hull. Do you know who the 4th and 5th guys are?
4th and 5th.
Power play goals.
One's one of the best left-handed wings of all time, and the other is
Robitaille?
Flash. Yeah, Robitaille number 5. Wow. And the other is a Flash.
Oh,
Solani.
Timu, number 4. 255.
Nice. The Finnish Flash.
Flash. You also have like Espo in that list, Shanny, Mario, Marcel Dion. Yeah, basically this is the goal scorer paradise, right? Dino Ciccarelli, you got Yager, you got
I was going to say, isn't Dino up there? Another former Tampa Lightning?
Dino, number 10. Yeah.
Nice.
How many other you got any Devils? So you got Yager on here. Any other Tampa guys? You also got Neuendijk, that former Devil. Ranger got Gretzky.
Just Dino and Davey.
Mark Recchi and Brian Bellows, 198.
Ooh, both of them former Tampa Bay Lightnings.
Yeah, both Tampers. So pretty good. All right, shorthanded. Who is the all-time leading goal scorer shorthanded with 73 goals? 73 goals. I would have never guessed this guy, and it's crazy because
is it somewhat recent? Or no?
No, not recent. He's think of the 80s, 90s.
No, I was going to say John Madden, but John Madden's got to be up there.
John Madden is not in the top 20.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. The top 20 goes from 73 to 31.
Wow.
So he did not hit 30.
Wow.
The number 1 name, it's amazing that this guy is the shorthanded goal leader. One of the best goal scorers of all time.
Theo Fleury?
Some would say the best goal scorer of all time.
Gretzky,
73 shorthanded goals.
Shorthanded goal.
Yes,
he was on the penalty. He was on the penalty kill that often.
It was just he could score in any situation.
I guess
yeah,
so.
but he doesn't seem like someone you're going to throw out on a penalty kill.
No.
Yeah, and
I think maybe they just throw him out there like you win the face-off and he can just control the puck and score at will.
I mean, I
guess
so.
He's not blocking shots or doing any kind of
no. He doesn't seem like he'd be a penalty kill guy.
Defense work,
but 2, 3, and 4 are
that's crazy.
Are 3 of the top 10 forwards of all time. You have Messier at 2 with 63. You have Yzerman at 3 with 50, and you have Mario Lemieux at 4 at 49. All 4 are 4 of the best wings of all time.
Active person on there?
They put him Marian Hossa as the only guy darkened in, but he's obviously not active. So you got Dave Poulin, Butch Goring, Yari Curry, Fedorov, Theo is on there, Pavel Bore is on there, Hossa. You have Brian Ralston, Peter Bondra, Joe Sakic, Bill Barber. Yeah, no one.
No
one recent. Huh? Yeah, but pretty interesting when I saw that. I was like, Gretzky's the shorthanded goal leader. That's amazing.
It doesn't make sense to me, but
yeah. Well, all right, can you name the 3 teams that do not have names ending in S?
Duh.
Lightning.
Duh to one of them. Wild Lightning is one. Another one.
Wild another. One more team.
And who are we missing?
We talked about the team. One of the best teams in the NHL right now.
Oh, Avalanche.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Colorado Avalanche.
All expansion teams. Well, sort of. Except for Colorado. They're a relocate.
Yeah. Apparently, Alex Del Vecchio has the same nickname I do. Do you know what it is?
Seattle. Well, hold on. Seattle will be the 4th.
Yeah, Kraken would be 4.
Kraken will be 4.
Sea Dumpster?
No, that's not appropriate. Don't say that on the stair. You want to get beeped?
I didn't say it.
Don't get bleeped.
I said the letter C.
So his nickname is Fats. So great, good for him.
Okay.
All right. So
we have never once called you that. We have alluded to.
I know.
We have never once called you.
Yeah.
Which NHL team did not participate in the 1983 entry draft?
Jesus.
They did not participate in the NHL draft.
83.
Pretty decent hockey club. A lot of history.
Canadiens?
No, not that bad.
Is it an American team?
Yes. Nice big arch.
The St. Louis.
St. Louis Blues. They did not participate because of ownership problems.
Okay.
I think we already asked. I might have not asked you guys this one. Who was the first player to record 100 points for an NHL team that recorded less than 20 wins?
Oh boy.
One of the better centers and probably the best snapshot of all time.
No one on the
Sakic. Quebec Nordiques, 1990-1991 season. I'll give you one more. Do you know who drafted Hall of Fame pitcher Tom Glavine?
Yeah, the Kings.
1984, LA Kings. Schwim's doing pretty good.
I knew that one.
Yeah.
I knew that one.
All right, so good episode. We'll see. Get some more good things on for next week. We're coming up on episode 50, boys, so spread the word.
Big 5-0.
Yeah.
Big 5-0 in 2 weeks.
We'll do some fun. Maybe we can all get together and do a podcast together in that one. So,
do that. Yeah.
All right, my beer, Glycerin. I'm gonna give it a 4.75. This was fantastic.
Damn, almost a 5.
Yes. Yeah, very good beer. I might even get a 5. It's that good.
Whoa.
Shorts.
Whoa.
You know what? I'm going bold. I give 60 a 5 because
that's
my
a 5.
Beer.
Yeah, it's a
clapper.
It's a clapper.
You can't. I think I already gave this one. I think I gave it a 4 previously, and I will stick to that.
And Steve will probably give his beer a 5 too because he's a man of his word.
That's true.
All right, Schwim, take it home.
If you're ever in England, just remember this: an elevator is called a lift, a mile is called a kilometer, and botulism is called steak and kidney pie.